The recipe I transcribed was for a Macedoine of fresh vegetables. I didn't really have any trouble during the transcribing process because the handwriting is neat and simple. In plain English, the recipe would be called Vegetable Macedonia. The recipe continues on to the next page, which is already transcribed. One of the first things I did during this project was look up the word Macedoine. The word is of French origin. This dish is called Macedoine des légumes in some parts of the world. This led me to believe that the author of the recipe may have been French or of French ancestry. I saw the dates that were blacked out on the page and the historical notes that correlated to those dates and realized that this was not a book meant to be a cookbook. I figured it was a planner of sorts. I looked at the cover of the book to find out the actual purpose, and it turns out it's a diary. The title of the book reads, The Everyday Diary. I was intrigued as to who the author was, so I looked to the University of Iowa Collections Guide and found out that the author was M.J. Delaney from Chicago, Illinois. I wanted to find out more, but searching M.J. Delaney cookbook just took me back to DIY history. In 1933, America was in the midst of the Great Depression. During this time, jobs were hard to get and even harder to keep. This leads me to believe that M.J. Delaney was a woman. I doubt a man in this time period would cook for his household. It is possible that it belonged to a male chef, but I would think a professional would keep their recipes in an actual recipe book rather than a repurposed diary. If M.J. Delaney was in fact a woman, it's likely that her initials stood for Mary Jane. I say this because Mary was the most popular name for baby girls in the U.S. for many decades preceding 1933. The recipe is titled Macedonia Fresh Vegetables, but it's basically a salad. The other recipes in the book are also nothing too extravagant, yet have interesting names such as ham mousse moderne and Arabian ambrosia. Taking everything into consideration, I imagine that M.J. Delaney was an eccentric housewife that liked to entertain people through her cooking.